Hello! Today I'm going to show you how to perform daily maintenance on an 821 in order to keep the machine availability as high as possible. Let's get started. First, I check all the access ladders to make sure they're clean, and then I enter the cab. Once in the cab, I make sure the lighting system is operational. This includes making sure the working lights
Ob die Scheibenwischer
and the windshield wipers work. I check the beacon system, turn the signals. Then I go back outside. Next, I make sure all bolts on the grapple have sufficient lubrication. If necessary, I add more using the red lubricating nipples. Then I check the retainers on the bolts for damage. Make sure all hoses are secure. And check the grapple for any leaks. From here, I make sure the lines and hoses are secure. Check for any leaks. And make sure the bolts for the grapple are secure. I continue on and check the main boom to make sure the limit shutdown for the grapple stick is secure and clean. I then check the stick cylinder for any leaks and make sure the hoses are secure before proceeding to the undercarriage. The manual lubricating strip is located at the front of the undercarriage and distributes the lubrication throughout the undercarriage. Each outrigger cylinder has 3 lubrication points for the outrigger. Now I check the front axle to make sure the steering stops are undamaged and for any noticeable problems. I make sure the brake pipes are tight and that there's enough lubrication under the pendulum axle cylinders. Now I make sure everything is secure on the undercarriage and check for any noticeable problems. Then I check to see if the lug nuts are loose. Now I open the side panel of the engine compartment. First, I check the radiator to make sure it's clean and undamaged. I check the sight glass of the air conditioning system drain bottle for any bubbles. I continue on in the engine compartment and make sure the V-belts are secure. Then check for any leaks under the engine. Now I check the oil level. Looks good. I proceed to the pump compartment and make sure all hoses are tight. Then check for any leaks and see if water has to be drained out of the water separator. I can also check the hydraulic fluid level here when the machine is in park. That is, when all hydraulic cylinders are retracted. I can then proceed to the rear ballast of the machine. From here I can check the gap between the side panel and the rear ballast. I can also immediately tell whether or not the mounting bolts or stop bolts for the rear ballast have come loose. From here I can check the mounting bolts and the stop bolts. I proceed further and check the rear axle to make sure everything is tight and undamaged. I check the stop bolts for the rear ballast from below and from here to make sure the mounting bolts are tight. Now I can continue my inspection. I also check the gap between the side panel and the rear ballast from here. Now I go to the side panel and open it. Here we have the battery disconnect switch, the circuit breakers, and, up top, the battery. I make sure these are securely mounted and that all lines are undamaged. Here we have the diesel filler neck and the HydroClean filter. I make sure all lines are secure and there are no leaks. I also make sure the central lubrication system has enough grease. This red pin indicates any faults in the central lubrication system. I can see if there's enough windshield washer fluid. Then I proceed further. In machines with internally geared slewing rings, the grease for the slewing ring must be checked under this maintenance panel at regular intervals. Now I can proceed to the upper carriage. When climbing up, I can check to make sure the boom cylinders are sufficiently lubricated. I can also make sure the hydraulic hoses are secure, the boom cylinder hoses are tight, and I can check for any leaks. From here, on top, I can check the entire boom to make sure all hoses are secure and there are no leaks. Now I look toward the center of the machine. I make sure all hoses are secure and there are no leaks. I do the same on the other side, making sure the slewing gear is secure and there are no leaks. I then open the service panel for the engine and check for any noticeable problems. But everything looks good here. I close the flap and proceed back down.
Und wieder nach unten gehen.
I return to the cab. Turn on the ignition and check the SENNEBOGEN for notifications. Now I'm ready to start working. For more comprehensive training, attend one of our training seminars at the SENNEBOGEN Academy.